Good morning. I guess so. Been sitting here waiting for the clock to tick to 4:44 because of my thing with starting at that time of late. Today, the title is We Are the Pillars of Light. That's a message I keep hearing. And when I am feeling strong, I believe it. A part of me knows it is true, even when my belief is challenged. Are we still shining even when our doubts and fears rise to the surface of our conscious ego minds? That's all the blurb that I wrote. But from the moment, actually before I even went to bed last night, most of the day yesterday, I'm in this funk that I just can't seem to get out of. And I don't try really, really hard to change my mood because I always have believed, or at least for a long time, that every emotion is a valid emotion. Every emotion is there with a gift. And sometimes it takes a while to determine what that gift is. I don't try to run away from my sadness or my temporary depression. I've lived long enough to know that this too shall pass. That's true of both high and low emotional levels. Nothing stays the same. I dealt yesterday with Blossom Goodchild's message in which she had been told by those entities, whoever they are, that she's channeling, that there would be pillars of light that would be unmistakable that would appear on Earth before the end of 2011. And in between Christmas and New Year last year, I was given the message that 2011 would be a year of massive visible changes. And I took that to mean that this would be the year when we'd actually see the powers that want to control the world, human powers or whatever, diminished greatly. We would start seeing the dominoes fall that are it's absolutely required that they fall. We can't have a new heaven and a new earth with an old leadership. It just won't work. And since Wednesday night, actually, when I opened the letter from the latest letter from the court, in which they denied my motion, and I didn't even make a motion. They just said it's denied. And the courts have all along ignored, as if I didn't even bring up any valid points. They have ignored every law, everything that I have cited that wins my point of view. They simply ignore it. They go on with their point of view regardless of what I have said. And that drains me, because here I have to go and fight another battle. Are there more remedies? Yes, I have several more remedies, or at least a few more remedies that I haven't used yet, including, I suppose, appealing to higher courts. I can always do that. Of course, that costs money. You don't appeal to higher courts for free. I don't know if that's the route that I'm supposed to take, but that is an issue that weighs heavily on my consciousness, and I am a pillar of light. And so when I'm feeling this negativity, if you will, when I'm feeling this depression, the last thing I want to do is get before the camera and talk about it. I mean, I like talking about things when I can lift you up. I get many emails and many responses from people that are going through really difficult situations, and I don't have the answers for them most of the time, probably all of the time. And I don't expect anybody to have my answers for me. It's my answer that I have to find within me. But I am the pillar of light that I'm waiting for. I know that. And so are you. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. I know that. A part of me doesn't even doubt that. But I still like feeling good. I like feeling high. I don't like it when I'm in the lower emotions. It doesn't feel good, and that's the truth. It doesn't. Do I like it? I like being able to have feelings. I love being able to have feelings. It's the part of being human that is most meaningful. I love feeling. I love thoughts. Sometimes my thoughts and feelings don't seem to be in sync with each other. Although the truth of the matter is, most of the times when my thoughts are bad, my feelings correspond. Although I have had feelings that seemed low, that nothing seemed to correspond with my thought pattern. And I chalk that up, usually, to tapping into the collective unconscious, or the collective consciousness, if you will. And we are all interconnected, so we do pick up on the vibrations of others. And that's another thing that has somewhat depressed me, because I've had conversations this week with people both in person and through the internet, through emails and stuff, where I'm recognizing the lack of cohesion even in the Occupy movement, where people are still caught up in the paradigm of conservative and liberal, or libertarian and progressive. One lady plainly said, I delete people that are libertarians because I don't like libertarianism. And I realize that there's an awful lot of people in the Occupy movement that think that big government, for example, is the answer. That big government, you got to have a big government that takes care of everybody. That's the purpose of government. And that's the liberal point of view. And it's wrong. It's wrong. Because taking care of people doesn't empower people. Which is why I say I'm a progressive libertarian. I don't believe that we have to pull the safety net away from people all at once. That would be disastrous. First, you have to teach people how to be empowered. You have to provide them tools that will build them up so that we can take responsibility for our lives, because we've been trained not to. Much of humanity has been trained to let the government take care of me. And I collect Social Security, and I don't feel guilty about that one bit. Why? Because I paid into it all of my working life. I don't get a lot of money, under $900 a month. And I live on that, and it's fine. But if they took my house away, which that bank's lawyer keeps trying to do, even though it never had a mortgage on it, and the courts keep ignoring it, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Do I believe that my source is able to supply my need, even if they came and physically removed me from my own home. This is something that's in the back of my mind that does not easily go away. It's something that I have to deal with. And yet I'm a pillar of light, and I'm supposed to be picking you up. And these are the things that are going on in my life right now. And I'm being really honest with you. And it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Because you see, if I could be like some people and say, well, nothing on this three-dimensional plane matters because it's all just an illusion. If I could be that, to me that's a cop-out. But if I could be there, then smoke a joint, which I've never done, or get buzzed, which I have done, or just try to make it go away. Just ignore it. Don't worry, be happy. Well, if I could be there, I would. But I don't want to do the cop-out route. I don't want to do that way. I don't want to take that road. Because to me, the three-dimensional illusion is just as important as the spiritual reality. They have to marry each other. They have to go together. That's been my unity vision, if you will, my unitive perception for a very long time. Embrace the paradox, which is why I use the handle Paradox Man. Embrace the paradox. Let the light and the darkness dance with each other. But what happens in our world is, in our polarized world, the dualities don't dance, they duel, they fight, they each try to eliminate the other one. That's not wholeness. And yet, when I'm in these situations where I'm feeling depressed, make the world go away. I mean, I want to get away from that which is perceived as causing these feelings. And yet, I don't know how to get away because, on the other hand, my higher self says everything has to come from love. Everything is love. Embrace even that which is difficult to embrace. And that's the challenge. And sometimes it is a huge challenge, even for me. And I've been at this game for a very long time. Some of you are just starting to wake up. You're just beginning to test your spiritual wings a little bit. And I've encouraged you in that, many of you, in that process. And I'm glad that I've been able to do that. But what happens when I feel like my wings are being singed by the fires of trials? Actually, there's not been a trial as far as the case. I mean, it's all been done on paper. All been done on paper. And so I look for the pillars of light, you and I look for us to be uplifted by something that empowers us. And what would empower me? Well, I always feel empowered when I take the next step and I use the next remedy that I'm provided. I always feel empowered. And time passes, and my empowering documentation is totally ignored. And the lawyer has said, doesn't mean a thing, Ron. Doesn't mean a thing. All that you've said is meaningless. That's their attitude. Why? Because if that wins, they lose. Their whole world comes crumbling down. Because it's been built on fraud and corruption. It's been built on lies. The whole legal system, the whole monetary system, the whole government enterprise is nothing but a lie. And these people that run it are criminals. I watched an excellent Occupy video, an educational video from Occupy Los Angeles yesterday, and I don't remember the man's name that I watched that video. I need to be actually sharing that and posting that on my Facebook page and some of the other Occupy movement pages if it's not already been there. But it was beautiful. He talked about the savings and loan crisis and how thousands of people were actually arrested and went to jail, and talking about CEOs and the savings and loan crisis. And that was, he said, 1/70th the size of the current situation, and yet not one person has been made accountable for the corruption and for the game that's been being played in this Wall Street thing with Goldman Sachs and the government collusion with Goldman Sachs and the other monetary people. I mean, they've gotten away literally with murder, but also literally with theft of trillions upon trillions of dollars. Trillions. And they've stolen it from the people. And what is ours is ours. And nobody pays for this? The courts allow them to get away. The government allows them to get away with this. It is fraud, folks. And there's so much that, I mean, I've been studying these things for a long time, for 10 years at least. At least I've been uncovering this thing and that thing and the other thing because I've known that there's been a giant conspiracy. Being a conspiracy theorist did not deter me from educating myself. And finally, many people are waking up to the fact that, yes, there's been conspiracy all along. And it's been our leaders. And I'm thrilled by that. And yet, I see some of the pillars of light flickering, including my own. Including my own. It flickers because I honestly thought that by now, some of the dominoes would have fallen. And there would be evidence, physical evidence in the world, on the news, that the old paradigm was coming down. And yet it's managed to hold on all this time. And that bothers me. It bothers me. Because I've wanted so much to see the manifestation of the shift. I'm not about killing people. That's not the punishment that I would ever seek. But there has to be reparations made. There has to be, justice has to be done. Because we can't have the new earth as long as the injustice continues with impunity. And that's what's still happening at the end of November in 2011, with 1 month left to go in the year. The big domino, whatever that was, hasn't fallen yet. Hasn't fallen yet. And I'm reminded that when our higher self, our God self, looks down on the earth, they do see the lights coming on. And oftentimes we are applauded for that. And yes, I get that from channeled messages. I also get it from my own meditations. And when I am feeling really, really, really connected, that's the message that I'm getting. I don't get the same message as easily when I'm not feeling as connected. And yet I am connected to the collective consciousness of humanity. And we still haven't gone over the tipping point yet where we have turned the tide. At least that's how it feels to me. What is the truth? What is the truth? I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. But we are the pillars of light. If not us, who? We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are surrounded by grace and the love of God, even when it doesn't feel like that. Anyway, I'm going to call this my message for today. I thank you for listening. Namaste.